So WWE 2K20 is less than 2 months away and we've barely gotten any game footage, which I'll get to in just a few by the way. And on top of that, the new features that they've announced that are supposed to excite us and entice us into getting the game are pretty underwhelming. I mean, let's take a look at what we're getting here. A new women's showcase going over the women's revolution and the 4 horsewomen. Once again, showcase mode. We've had showcase since 2K15 and before that we've had versions of it under different names. Who really likes showcase mode over an original story? Something like a season mode or Road to WrestleMania or something new just with an original story. Showcase mode is just you playing what you've already seen on TV, YouTube, or television. What's the fun in that? You're just following instructions like, hey, do this and that, do this way because that's the way it happened on TV. In most cases, you already know what's gonna happen because you've watched it. And for that reason, I've never cared for showcase mode. I wish they'd remove the mode and replace it with an original story. And that brings me to this question because I'm curious to know if I'm in the minority here or if most of you guys feel the same way. Would you guys rather have showcase mode or would you rather have it removed for an original story? Whether that be something like Road to WrestleMania season mode or something entirely new, let me know in the comments, or actually I might just post up a poll on this very video where you click on the top right and you vote there. But anyways, moving on, my career. Don't really have anything bad to say about this. The people asked for a female My Career and they're giving it to us. Only thing is, it seems like it's not separated. It doesn't seem like there's a male My Career and a female My Career. It seems like it's combined into one, which might annoy some people, but hey, they kind of listen to the people here. And then along with that, they say that for the first time ever, we're getting the Mixed Match Challenge. Now, maybe under that name, or maybe for the tournament, that is the first time, but as far as mixed tag team matches, it's definitely not the first time that they're in the game. They were in the game before, they took him out, and now they're bringing it back in. It's just a mixed tag team match. It's nothing, crazy special or whatever. It's not this crazy awesome matchup that we've never had before. We've had it in the game, and they took it out, now they're bringing it back in, so I don't see this as a game seller at all. Following that, we got a new story-based Roman Reigns 2K Tower. Now, they posted up a whole video on this, a 1 minute 26 second video. Roman Reigns talked for 99% of that video, and then we got a whole 3 seconds of game footage, and 1 second of that game footage was a shot of Roman Reigns during his entrance, and keep in mind, I keep saying game footage for a very specific reason, which I'll get to pretty soon. Anyways, it's just another 2K Tower, which is just matches one after the other. It's, once again, something that's not original. You're going to be playing matches that Roman Reigns already had, that you've already watched. Sounds a lot like Showcase mode, except this is a 2K Tower, so chances are it's not going to have cutscenes too. Maybe Roman Reigns talking some more, I don't know. So it's pretty much a poverty Showcase mode. Honestly, I feel like if this was any other game, or if this wasn't a yearly release, something like adding a mixed tag team match and a Roman Reigns 2K Tower could have just been DLC. Speaking of DLC, next up is the 2K Originals, which is going to be like these theme packs, bundles of DLC that are going to include, new superstars, arenas, towers, and, best part about them, original showcase episodes or stories. This is a lot better than what you currently have as showcase mode, original showcases, instead of, let me just go ahead, follow these instructions, and just replay what I've already watched. Replay and rewatch. That's pretty much showcase mode. 2 issues though with originals. Number 1, if the first one's anything to go by, the Bump in the Night one, they might go the whole fantasy, totally unrealistic route, because that's what this first one is. This first one's got Zombie Braun Strowman, Zombie Randy, and Janitor Sheamus. I don't know what that is. So hopefully they're not all like that and we get some realistic ones. And then issue number 2 is that it's DLC. So how are you gonna have it to where the best news about your upcoming unreleased game is the DLC, something that's not included in the game when you get it. They're only included in the price of the Deluxe and Collector's Edition. If somebody gets the Standard Edition, looks like it's going to be $14.99 each 2K Original. And then finally, streamlined controls to make it easier for new players. I thought the controls were fine. I didn't think they would stop a new player from playing the game. If somebody's interested in WWE games, I don't think the controls would stop them from playing it, and vice versa. If somebody didn't care for the WWE games, I don't think these new streamlined controls would all of a sudden make them want to play a WWE game. So really the only new features are the ability to play as a female in My Career, mixed tag team matches, but that's already been in the game before, so it's more like a return than something new. And then when it comes to 2K Originals, is that really a feature? It's just more 2K Towers, as well as more showcases, arenas, and superstars. So it's not really a new feature, so very little when it comes to actual new features here. And then when it comes to the gameplay, they've shown zero actual gameplay, and by actual gameplay, I mean what it's actually gonna look like when you're playing in a match. They've shown these zoomed in shots, these camera shots, but they haven't shown actual gameplay, what it's going to look like when we have the controller in our hands and are playing a match with the HUD there, and the submission meter and this and that and the pin meter. None of that. We've only got entrances, which aren't gameplay, those are cutscenes, and we've gotten these camera shots of superstars hitting their finishers, and that's it. So we've gotten game footage, but gameplay in the way that we're gonna experience it when we play the game, none of that. And why is that? Why have they posted up a bunch of videos on the game, but these videos are 99% real life footage and then just seconds of game footage? I think it's because they know themselves that there's very little change in between this year's game and last year's game, and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. And that's the problem with these games, especially since 2K acquired them. There is so little change, so little innovation in between the titles. They feel the same. And I'm not just talking about gameplay changes, but also when it comes to the features, as you just saw, very minimal additions or new features. Now look, I'm not saying the old games were perfect, because they definitely weren't. Towards the end, they were also starting to feel repetitive, but still, they had more changes in between the games each year compared to now under the 2K brand. So just to show you guys an example here, we're going to go over the differences between WWE 2K19 or 2K15 to 2K19 and the differences between SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 to 2011. Now, why these games? Both 07 and 2K15 were the first games in their generation, and then 2K19 and 2011 4 years apart from the first games. So I think this is a fair comparison. Let's start it off with 2K15 to 2K19 side by side here. Right off the bat, visually not that big of a difference, but as far as big gameplay changes, their new features and modes, they brought back a bunch of the stuff that went missing in 2K15. They brought back backstage and crowd fighting. My Career became more story based, which was a much better direction than what they had before in 2K17 and 16. And they added in 2K Towers, and they went from a limit of 6-man matches to 8-man matches. Those, I'd say, are the big changes from 2K15 to 2K19. Now let's take a look at SmackDown vs. Raw 07 to SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Now when it comes to this one, just visually, I think most people can tell, hey, this isn't the same game. There's a bigger difference there. And when it comes to big gameplay changes or new features and modes, there's a couple here. So they introduced Universe mode, they replaced Season with Road to WrestleMania, they added in Creative Finisher, Create a Story, Community Creations, the Highlight Reel. They went from a limit of 4 players to 6 players online, and they added in a new weapons physics system, which, if you ask me, is a lot better than what we've currently got in 2K19. You had a ton more freedom with the weapons in 2011. It just felt a lot better slamming somebody on the weapons as compared to 2K19. You could feel the impact in 2011, and when you choke somebody on the steps, they could actually land on the steps, as opposed to 2K19 where the steps kind of move away, or they I guess bump their heads on the steps or something like that. It's just not the same. And finally, they made it so you could run freely in the games, because for years in the SmackDown games, you couldn't run freely once you started running. Once you started running, you had to commit to that direction unless you stopped running. But from 2008 and beyond, they made it so once you start running, you could go left and right, you can move around. So as you guys just saw, there's a lot less changes in between the games now than there was last generation. And people are starting to catch on. You look at the comment sections of the videos that they post up, people see that, hey, this looks just like the game before that. Oh, and the one before that too, and the one before that. Very similar games with very minimal changes, and in one of the areas, one of the biggest areas where they failed to make any change or any positive change is the online. And I know I keep on saying this, but because it keeps on being the case, since 2K15, the online's been trash, and the online, every single match lags, every single match has delay. I've never seen a worse online than 2K15 to 2K19, and I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, because when I made my 2K19 online sucks video, look at the comment section in that video. People agree that the online sucks and has been sucking for years now, and they want change, and no change has been made. I also know that a ton of people have asked for GM mode, and obviously that hasn't been added. I don't personally care for it, but I know it's been asked for by a lot of people. It just feels like they spend most of their budget for this game on fancy commercials and these cover reveals with real life footage of the superstars and legends, as opposed to spending it on the actual game to make big improvement or significant improvements. I feel like they feel they don't need to try, because there is no other option really when it comes to a wrestling game like this. All the other wrestling games are these retro style with these 2D sprites type of wrestling games, which don't really appeal to a large audience. And unless they stop doing these games yearly, which I highly doubt they'd ever do that, so that's like out of the picture, or an actual competitor comes in, I think it's gonna keep on being this way, which is why I really hope that Yuke's, since they're working on a rival wrestling game, and now it's really a rival wrestling game since they parted ways with 2K, I hope they come out with something good. Same goes for AEW. They've been talking about a game, so I hope that what they're teasing is not just DLC for Fire Pro Wrestling, and it's an actual All Elite Wrestling game, and it's not one of those retro style 2D sprites type of wrestling game. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up, man. The biggest problem with these WWE 2K games is the lack of change / innovation. AEW and Ukes, please save us. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, click the like button down below, and I'm out. See ya.